Brooklyn Nets are over 500. That's right. Can you dig it? We'll recap the first week of the season for the Nets and preview week 2 as Nets Game on Prime Sports Network starts now. All right, it's Tuesday, the 24th of October, 2017. I'm your host, Greg DePalma, and I know it's been a couple years since the Nets and their fans have been able to enjoy a day or two, at least, of being over 500, but get used to it. We've warned everybody out there for months that this is a new Nets team, a new Nets organization, and this is just the beginning. So let's welcome in my co-host Jamal Murphy, Chief Fantasy Analyst over at Our Lads for football, but also, of course, has done some basketball coverage here on Prime Sports Network in college, NBA, and you could also catch his work as co-host of the Bill Rhoden on Sports podcast on iTunes. So, Jamal, 2 in 1 week. Yeah, that's a very good start.
Yeah, you can't be mad at that. Lost the opener at Indiana, and then won their 2 home games. So so far so good.
Yeah, the defense did not come to play in the first game. Not even sure what was going on there. That was like an all-star game or something like that. I don't know what happened. But even though, I mean, at least there were some guys that were scoring, so that's always nice. It wasn't like we've seen the games in the last couple of years where they would lose by whatever. It didn't even matter what they lost by, but maybe the score was 94-73. At least there was some points being scored, and it was exciting, and that's what we're gonna see this season. But then in the next couple of games, they come home and they get the job done, and to me, the big story, out of everything, if I just point one player, you tell me which player is the big story for you.
For me?
Yes. Where you go?
That's I got a couple, but if I had to, I'm gonna guess yours. I'm gonna say you say Jared Allen.
Yep. And we talked about that in the preseason, about how he looked in the preseason. That he looked like he was focused, and that he didn't look like a rookie, and he looked confident, and that has translated to the regular season, because we talked about if this team is going to be better than people think, he's going to have to be a big part of that, and he certainly was the 2 home games.
Right, and to me, the thing with him is the growth process. We know he's a bit of a project. Big man, played 1 year in college. Not really from an offensive system at Texas with Shaka Smart. So you didn't know what you really had. You just knew you had an athletic big man with a high upside, and he's showing the upside. And really what sticks out to him is his maturity and composure at that young age. He was playing in crunch time against Orlando, came up with some big blocks, rebounds, a couple ferocious dunks, but also in that Orlando game, hitting 2 big free throws, I think was the biggest thing that the biggest plus for him right there, showing that, in crunch time, he could compose himself and hit 2 free throws, so he has some touch that not too many big men have.
Yeah, and he's also leading the team in blocks. So considering he's playing less minutes than any other player, that shows you something. So that is something to look forward to, because I got to believe that as the season, we're not even going to have to wait till midseason. I wouldn't be surprised that sometime really soon he starts getting more minutes than Mozgov.
Well, he's already right there. I think Mozgov is averaging 16 so far. Allen's averaging 14.5. So, that's probably, you'd probably wait 10, 15 games for that to happen at this rate. He's gained the coach's confidence. Atkinson said that after the first home game, the Orlando game, saying that he told him he was going to put him in. He put him in, and he surprised him that he played so well. That he didn't expect that to keep him in during crunch time, and he did. So that's a very good sign moving forward.
So who did you want to throw in there?
Well, you got D'Angelo Russell.
Yep.
He's an obvious choice, but he's played well. He's leading the team in points and assists, 21 points, 7 assists. His turnovers have been high. He's averaging close to 5 turnovers a game. He needs to clean that up.
Yep.
But shooting 51%, so you gotta like what he's giving you. He's basically giving you what you wanted him to, only in 28 minutes. So you got to think the minutes could go up, and he could even give you some more production. So you got to like that. And then Karis LeVert actually started the Atlanta game. He's showing a lot. He's showing he's very versatile, averaging 12, 3, and 3 in about 28 minutes. Getting more confident by the day. And he's another guy in about 20, 30 games. Where is he going to be? It could be a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, he looked a lot better in the Atlanta game. And
right.
and that's what he needs to do, because we know he's that type of player. We know he's got fringe stardom in him. And look, when he was at Michigan and being a Michigan fan, I remember watching him play, when he was a freshman, and he played in the championship, the Final Four in the championship. And I remember him being out there and seeing how green he was, and almost being like, why is he even out there? You are a freshman. He kind of looked like a freshman, but they really liked his talent. Beilein knew he was going to be a really good player and was willing, because he could play some D. He was willing to have him out there. And then you kind of saw gradual. He wasn't a guy that instantly, even the next year, became a star. He gradually got better every year. It was a slow process that by the time he left Michigan before the injury, he was about to, if he didn't get injured that year, he was about to be like an All-American. That's what he was about to become, and then the injury happened.
Yeah, I mean, no question. It's funny you bring up his college days, because I was at the Big Ten Media Day, got a chance to talk to Beilein, and Beilein was talking about recruits that have surprised him over the years. So I brought up LeVert. I said, "What was he rated when you got LeVert?" He said LeVert was a 2-star recruit, which I couldn't believe. And he was like, LeVert, some guys are shaving in high school and they get high ratings. He's like, LeVert still's not shaving. So that's basically true. He's not even close to what he's going to be now in the NBA. So you got to think his potential is so is really up there. I mean, he's just scratching the surface. I talked to him after the game, after the Orlando game, asking him about that 2-star rating in high school and whether that gives him motivation moving forward. He said, "Yeah, of course. He plays with that chip on his shoulder, wanting to show people that they were wrong." And, he definitely is showing that kind of like determination to get better and that focus. And, you got to like what you see there.
Yeah, the one thing he does have to improve on more than anybody on the team is his shooting percentage. He's got to get a little bit more comfortable, but he's always been that kind of player. Again, it was something that he had to get better at in college. That was, as I said, he wasn't always a great shooter early on in college. It wasn't until just a year before the injury that he all of a sudden developed the outside game. And then you realize, whoa, watch out now. So that should come. It leads the team in steals. That's not a surprise. So, yeah, so it's nice to see him play well. We could talk about Jeremy Lin, and I'll say this because we talked about this in the show last week in the preview show. We talked about how they were so deep at guard that it wouldn't be a surprise if the Nets explored the opportunity, the possibility of trading Jeremy Lin at the deadline. With his contract situation, with all the guards they had on the team, and knowing the way Marks will wheel and deal to help the team out in the future, that could be a possibility. And the reason we also said that was really not because we didn't like the kid, but it was because of the fact that we knew that the excess at guard. So I got to tell you, for all the top guys on this team, the one guy that could get hurt that I really don't kind of feel, oh no, we can't have that happen, is Lin. And I don't want to say that in a negative way for him. It's just that it gives Spencer Dinwiddie more time, Karis LeVert more time, Whitehead hopefully soon more time, and I'm okay with that. I honestly don't think it's going to hurt the team as much as maybe other people might think.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. And of course it was a horrible situation. You have to feel horribly for Lin.
Yes.
When the replay that shows. He knew exactly what happened when it happened. Basically kind of broke down. A very sad play. Season-ending injury is the second year in a row that he's going to miss. Basically the whole season, most of the season. But that's something we talked about also last show. That injuries, always happen in the NBA,
Yep.
and that they were bound to happen. To the Nets, it's in some way, shape, or form, and it happened at the guard position. Like you said, fortunately for the Nets, they're very, very deep there. So I don't really see them missing a beat. If anything, it was going to be too crowded, and it's still kind of too crowded. You mentioned
Yeah.
Whitehead, who's been inactive. Now, this is a guy, Whitehead, who played, major minutes and quality minutes last year as a rookie. Can't even get on the bench. He's inactive for the first
Yeah.
3 games.
And
then you
Kilpatrick
look at
doesn't even
Kilpatrick,
play.
who hasn't even stepped on the court. He's active, but he hasn't stepped on the court. So that's how deep they are at guard.
Remember, we talked about them trading Kirkpatrick last year about the fact that in the offseason, because of the fact that he's not a very good defender, and with all the talent that they have, that he's the type of guy that might fit somewhere if a team's looking for instant scoring off the bench. Kirkpatrick's a guy that, because of that, he's going to be in the league a long time. I mean, he's got that scoring that you covet. But unless that defense picks up, that's all he's ever going to be. And I think you're seeing that with this team until he starts picking up. And that's a good thing, because I think that by the time he gets out there and does play, that maybe his defensive pressure he'll know he'll have to step it up, or else he's not going to get playing time.
Right, and they have so many guys who, guards who can do something on offense. D'Angelo Russell, of course. You got Crabbe, you got LeVert, who they're trying to develop, but also gives you something right now. You got Dinwiddie, who's that solid guard, still a young guy off the bench, doesn't make mistakes, and hits big shots. So it's just not a lot of room there.
And
you
Joe Harris.
You have to add something special.
And Joe Harris.
Right, Joe Harris, the knockdown shooter.
Yeah, he came in and he said he wanted his 3-point percentage to be 41% this year. Well, so far so good. He's at 57%. So good start. That's
no question.
What you need to do.
You got like what you see from Harris. I mean, he's definitely, you can tell that all he does in the summer is shoot the ball, because he is not missing. He looks like I saw him in the preseason against J.J. Redick. He was shooting better than J.J. Redick. So
that says something. We know he's got it in him, and when we saw him at Virginia, you knew he was the man at Virginia. I mean, they had nobody that could score on that team, and he was it. And you just felt that because of the way Bennett coaches defense there, you figured that he had some defensive ability in him, and I think we've seen that. He's limited physically, athletically, but he tries, and I think that he's an improved defender, and that's why he's out there. He's an improved defender. He can shoot the three, and Atkinson really thinks that is going to be a very valuable part of what they need for this team moving forward. And then we'll throw in another name, and that's going to be Rondae Hollis-Jefferson. I think we're getting to the point soon where Jamal's going to have to start buying in. I think look, we know he hasn't played like this, and I didn't know when it would happen or if it would happen myself, but I think just looking at him, I just always felt that he had something like this in him. He was just too gifted athletically, that you just said to yourself, boy, if you just shoot a little, he could be really good, and that's what we're seeing.
Yeah, he's been more aggressive. In all facets of the game, averaging 13 and 5 in 24 minutes now. I have to admit, he's playing very well. He's one of those guys. They have a bunch of guys like that, hard-nosed guys who are all playing well. Carroll's playing well, also, putting up some decent numbers. So, he's a piece of that puzzle that makes the Nets, an interesting team, and they're not going to be an easy out for anybody.
And it's going to be nice, because that they're going to get better, because they have to get better. There's no question about that, because you can kind of see that the talent is there, especially with the teams they've been playing. Even though they've won the games, there have been times where, the games have been close, especially the Orlando game. They were better than team. They're better than Orlando. Come on. Who was it that Vucevic is like playing the game of his life? And if it wasn't for that, they would have won that game easy. But I don't think what we're seeing, it's not like I'm looking at these games and going, oh, wow. Boy, we stole 2 games. I'm looking at these games and I'm going, yeah, okay, we're better than those teams.
Right. they should win those two games, and it'll be interesting tonight. They're at Orlando to see if they
Yes,
can beat
on the
a similar
road.
team on the road.
Yes.
In Orlando, they don't seem to have much talent, but they went to I think either to Cleveland or versus Cleveland and blew them out. It's the NBA. Sometimes even good teams don't show up, so
Sure.
it doesn't mean all that much. But this will be a nice little test for them tonight.
Yeah, that's going to be the next step for them. Is going to be the road wins. The sooner they can get those road wins, the better for their season moving forward, so they can get some confidence there. And even Trevor Booker, we've been big fans of his coming over and what he does for the group. And it's nice to have Carroll and Booker as veterans on this team. And it was also nice to see Alan Crabb, getting more involved in the game on Sunday. And I know they're trying to work him a little slowly in, but I mean, the other night against Orlando, I was looking at his stats and I almost felt like going, "Hey, Alan, this isn't Portland. Go out there and shoot. Go get him." And then that's what happened in Atlanta. He got more playing time. I think he got a little bit more confident with the shot because that's what they brought him in here to be. They brought him in to be a big part of the team, not to be a guy that's going to shoot 10 go like 4 for 10. It's not Portland.
Right. And he, like you said, he did his thing, had 20 points versus Atlanta. He's definitely a huge part. Booker, I mean, what can you say about him? Seems like he's an older guy. It seems like he still gets better every year. He's averaging 17 and 9 in 26 minutes for the Nets, so it's gonna be hard to take away playing time from him. He's gonna give them that toughness and that experience to where they can win games. Some games they're not supposed to, and maybe games that that'll take them to the next level, like tonight in Orlando.
And what I like about Booker is he's shooting almost 60%. So that's what you need from a guy like that, is make sure that whatever shots he's taking, he's effective, and that's what he's doing. And he's a great leader by example. And it's also nice to see D'Angelo Russell at 51%. I mean, because that's very important. Not just limiting the turnovers, but the field goal percentage for D'Angelo Russell is going to be huge this season.
Yeah, and also like the 7 assists means he's sharing the ball. He's not out there gunning. Like I said earlier, he just has to cut down those turnovers. A little careless with the ball, but I'm sure Atkinson is in his ear about that.
And then, of course, it's nice to have Dinwiddie now as basically the backup because, as we said before, he's like the opposite of D'Angelo. I mean, he never turns the ball over. So, I mean, he doesn't have a great shot right now, Dinwiddie, but hopefully, he'll find his niche with the team. And as a backup point, your job is not necessarily to shoot. Your backup job is to play some D, dish him out, don't turn the ball over. And for the most part, he's doing a pretty good job of that. But yeah, everybody is contributing, and it's great to see. And this week, again, next couple nights, it's at Orlando tonight. You going to the Cleveland game tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll be at the Cleveland game tomorrow. That should be fun. Another big test right there.
Oh yeah,
to say the least.
And then the Knicks on Friday, and that's always big to get that big New York win out of the way because we're better than the Knicks. So it's important.
Knicks fans don't believe that. Still,
well, that's why it's important to show everybody.
Right.
You don't want to lose that game, and if I have Knicks fans go, I told you. That's because that's not the case. And then Denver and Phoenix next week. So the schedule's there to get off to a nice start. It's very, very important to get that done and get the confidence going. Speaking of Phoenix, Eric Bledsoe was in the news, and he it was a very weird situation there. He's called out wanting to leave there, and then they fire the head coach Watson, and then now Bledsoe's not going to play. How are they handling this situation? I don't understand because every sport's different. I mean, the GM came out and said he's not playing. I mean, we're not playing him, or he's not. I mean, what is he saying? Is he saying he's suspended? Is he saying we're going to trade him? He's never playing for Phoenix again. What can he do? What is it under the laws in the NBA? Especially we know that every contract's guaranteed. So what are they going to do?
Yeah, I mean that has to be a joint decision on the part of the team and the player. I don't think he's not losing any money. I'm sure we would have heard about that.
Yeah.
So he's taken some time off. I think Bledsoe's been hanging out with Martavis Bryant and getting on his Twitter and communicating that way. Basically, he sent out an ominous tweet saying he didn't want to be here. Then they asked him, it blew up. Bleacher Report, everybody's reporting it. And then they asked him what he meant by that. He said, "Oh, I was in the hair salon. I didn't want to be here." But the GM didn't buy that, so they sent him home, and they're going to try to get rid of him. The reports are that he asked for a trade in the off season, and Phoenix didn't deliver, so he was a little upset about that, and he decided to go public with it. It does kind of lessen the leverage that Phoenix has now. It diminishes his value because everybody knows they have to get rid of him.
That's true.
So it kind of hurts Phoenix in that way. If I were Phoenix, I would have just kept him on the court, act like nothing happened, keep playing, so his value doesn't decrease like that.
Yeah. And then bad news for Boston fans on opening day with Gordon Hayward going down for the year. I mean, we saw what happened last night with Jason Peters. I mean, you see these injuries, and as a fan, it doesn't even have to be your team. And it's the part of the sport that you just hate the most, and you feel for the Boston fans. I mean, they're excited all summer about Gordon Hayward and and Irving and all this new talent and the new Boston Celtics, and it all goes down in one night, first night.
Yeah, and in the way it happened, I mean, it was one of the most
gruesome.
gruesome basketball injuries you're ever going to see. I mean, I've never seen it in anybody's ankle turn that way. It was almost like he put his shoes on backwards. It was really unbelievable. So, yeah, I mean, hopefully he can come back. I mean, the NBA is such a long season. People are even talking about he has a chance to come back at the end of the year. I can't see that. I wouldn't even want to come back after that. give me the year off.
I know.
Let me rehab in the off season and work on it then.
Psychologically, that's it's not going to be very easy either.
Right.
All right. And by the way, the Long Island Nets have their training camp roster. So, the same names that we thought that we would see there. Milton Doyle will be there. Prince Ebay, Akil Mitchell, Utara, Sanglin, and Jacob Wiley. So those are the big names that we're most familiar with. Utara and Wiley, of course, have the two-way contracts. So,
right.
We'll keep everybody updated on how the Long Island team is playing and if any of these players look like. But hey, look, I mean, this is not the place that you want to try to break in now. I mean, there ain't no spots available for the Nets now.
Right, especially if you're a guard or a forward.
Yeah,
might want to look elsewhere.
Yeah, big men are needed, but anything else other than that is definitely still the one part. I mean, there's no question now moving forward. Now again, Jared Allen looks really good, and he's gonna develop nicely. It looks like, and it's just gonna take some time. But right. You got to believe that's now it's pretty easy, isn't it? Moving forward, as far as what the Nets are going to be looking for, as that that next piece is going to be front court. That's it. It's big and athletic, big.
Right. And unless there's a superstar somewhere that wants to come to Brooklyn, there may be, especially after this year.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of help needed right now, definitely front court. I mean, you're log jammed at in the guard forward positions. We keep saying, but it's fun times. Jared Allen, I'm excited about seeing his growth because remember Atkinson, he lets his big men play. By in a year or two, Jared Allen might be shooting threes.
Oh no, man! If he is, then I guess that's a good thing.
Remember, I said that.
Okay. Well, Brook Lopez did. So
right.
Anything's possible.
Yeah, he's a whole different player.
That is right. That is that's anything's possible. Well, Jamal, I appreciate it as always. Enjoy the game tomorrow night against Cleveland, and we may have, depending if we do the show next Tuesday. We're definitely going to have at least 4 games to talk about. So maybe 5, depending on when we do the show next week. So looking forward to it. And let's hope they stay over 500 the rest of the season and definitely next week with this schedule.
Definitely. Fun times in Brooklyn right now.
All right, Jamal. So that's Jamal Murphy, and you can catch him on his Twitter handle at Blackatologist. You could also check out our official Twitter handle at PrimeSN. That's when we let you know when all the shows are available on demand. Don't forget, we have a YouTube page and an iTunes page on the Prime Sports Network. So that'll do it for Nets Game on the Prime Sports Radio Network. For Jamal Murphy, I'm Greg DePalma. We'll see you next time.